Hey, you guys, welcome back to another episode of the Preacher Girl podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Arner, and I'm very excited that you decided to hop on for a listen. I hope you decide to stick around and join the community. Today on the show, I have my friend Tito, and he was the boys director at Timber Ridge Camp in Indiana for, I want to say, at least 2, if not 3 summers, maybe more. And he recently started a band called Lightshore. Him and John and Trent all worked together to create music, and they recently released some new music out on Spotify. So you're definitely going to want to check that out. And we talk a little bit about that on the episode today. And he also shares about, how he got his start as a musician, why he creates music. And honestly, the conversation is really fun. It's really uplifting, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So without further ado, here's Tito. Tito is here today, and I worked with him at summer camp, and him and his wife, Courtney, live in Nebraska, and there are just so many exciting things happening in their lives right now. So first of all, Tito, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and obviously, I know one of the main things we're going to be talking about is your new album that you have released. You have a band. I'm very excited to talk about this. But before we jump into that, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, all that good stuff.
Yeah, my name is Tito Baez. I am currently living in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And currently right now I'm working as a youth specialist for an organization called Cedars. And so I work with youth at risk that are in the juvenile system, and I teach them life skills that they'll need to thrive and do well in society once they get back out and are attending school and trying to apply for jobs and just get back out into the community.
That is really, really cool. Now, I know you studied social work and I think psychology, right?
Yeah, I just graduated last week with a bachelor's in social work, and then my minor was in psychology.
That is so, so cool. And the fact that you work with like young people in the juvenile center, that must be very interesting. I can't say that I've ever done anything like that. And I know we weren't planning on talking about this, but tell us a little bit about what you do in that area. Like what does that look like in a typical day?
Yeah, so a typical day for me is to plan plan out the routes that we'll need in order to go out and pick the kids up. We usually at the reporting center we will run groups with them where we teach them different life skills that they'll need to do better in school or just at work if they already are employed. We also help them build resumes. We help them apply for jobs, and we help them do callbacks. We run through interview questions with them as well. So we're really just we're there as partners with them to make sure that they're meeting their goals and that they can be successful while they're finishing up their terms on probation.
That sounds very, very interesting. And it sounds very rewarding as well. I'm sure it sounds like, you're probably forming some good friendships maybe over there with the young people and things like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love the team that I'm working with currently, and just the care that we provide for the youth that come through our doors. It's very special. It's unique, and we get to build these relationships with them that really just have an impact on us, and then hopefully at the end of the day we're making an impact on them, and just being a positive light for them.
That is really, really cool. The main thing we would talk about, your band. Tell us the name of your band, why you started your band, who else is in your band. Yeah, all those cool details.
Yeah, I would love to. Shout out to my boys, John Adame and Trent Ward. John plays lead guitar in the band. Trent plays the bass. I'm the lead singer and rhythm guitarist, and our band is called Lightshore. We started our band because um, we wanted to spread positive messages to people that necessarily, are closed off to listening to Christian music, and so we've made it a point to not only speak on spirituality and religion through our music, but also just about life. And that includes love, decisions, mental health is probably one of the biggest things for me. Just being a social work major and being able to use that in my music has been very special. And so, I mean, the real reason we do this is because it helps us, but we want to put this music out there so that other people are enjoying it as well and relating to it.
That's really, really cool. So I was definitely listening to some of your music earlier today, or your guys' music today, and I guess you could say your new album that you put out, you have 4 songs on it, and they're all very good and a little bit different. They all have a little bit different lyrics and everything. I just wanted to ask you, which song that you guys have put out is your favorite, or like your top 2 favorites? And maybe tell us a little bit about like the meanings behind like some of the lyrics, or like, like some of the background to your new album.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me personally, the biggest track on that EP is Heaven Awaits. For me, that was a song that was written a couple years ago at a time in my life where I was nearing the end of my time at summer camp in Pennsylvania, and I was just feeling exhausted. I was feeling tired. And I knew what I was doing there was special. It was great work. The Lord was definitely working while I was there. But the human side of me was just drained completely. And so I was able to sit on the top of the hill there at camp with one of my guitar students. And I really just kind of pushed her to help me write something that conveyed what we were feeling at that time. And so we were at Laurel Lake Camp in Pennsylvania, and we're looking out into the mountains, just this beautiful scenery that we have around us. And we're like, wow, even though we're here and we have to walk everywhere, and this camp is huge, and we're doing so much throughout the day that we just don't have time to just kind of lay low for a little bit. This moment right here, it just feels like a piece of heaven. And it really inspired us to just write about what that would be like and the things that we have to look forward to, with heaven awaiting each and every one of us. So that was a very beautiful moment for me. It's a song that I'm going to carry close to my heart forever. It's like our closing song when we play gigs, and it's beautiful for me. I would say that my second favorite track right now is probably 9-0. That song gets the crowd involved, and it gets them to sing along with us, and it's very fun. It's very upbeat, and it really is up for interpretation on what it is that you hear when you're listening to that song. For us, it was written out of that struggle that we have with sin, and sometimes finding ourselves, at an all-time high and not feeling like we're worth anything. So we were able to convey that message, but in a very happy way. And so it's exciting to be able to sing that in front of people and have them reciprocate, back the emotions, and just being happy and singing the lyrics as well. It's awesome.
Yeah, I like all the songs, and the one song you mentioned, Heaven Awaits. Because I listened to that earlier today, because I was like, I need to like make sure like these are like fresh in my mind, for this interview. And the lyrics are so good, and it, like, when I was listening to Heaven Awaits, like, it really just got me thinking about heaven, obviously, and it was just very encouraging. And yeah, it was just a very uplifting song, and all of the songs you guys put out are very, very uplifting and fun, and they're great. So for those who are listening, make sure you go on Spotify. That's where I listen to most of my music, and or wherever else. I'll find out the details and put that in the description. But make sure you go listen to their new music. It's so great. You're gonna love it. So yeah, make sure you do that. So Tito, I wanted to ask you mainly, have you always been a musician? Was it one of those things where ever since you were little, like you knew like you were gonna write music, you were gonna compose songs? When did all of this start for you as a musician?
This is such a great question. I love it because it makes me happy. It makes me happy to know that like down the road I'm already doing things that like are helping my dreams come to life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I could remember, I was singing. And
Mm.
I think the first time I ever did special music, I was probably like 3 or 4 years old.
Wow,
And
wow.
I'm up front in church singing. Um, like I barely knew how to speak, but I could sing. And it's awesome to think about. And when I try to reflect back on, why it is that I do this and why I love music the way I do, I have this very special connection with my dad.
Mm.
He tells me that he used to sing to me when I was in the womb, and so he would like plug in his karaoke machine, um, put on some Christian tunes, and he would sing through a mic, like
Wow.
singing into this speaker that's just playing music to a fetus, and it's it's crazy, but I've been able to hear music from you know
Wow.
before even existing
That is so cool.
on the
Wow.
world. Yeah. So I've always been a singer. I don't necessarily think that I'm a great musician. I would say I do it because I like to convey my feelings this way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but very early on, my parents started me off on the piano, and they really pushed the piano. They wanted me to learn how to play. Unfortunately, there was just too much happening for my young brain at that time to accept the fact that the piano was what I needed. So
Ah.
I quickly moved on from that, and then I started playing the violin.
Oh, wow.
And I loved the violin. It was awesome. I did
Oh,
that in
that's
like
cool.
second, third, and fourth grade.
Oh,
And
wow.
unfortunately, what ended up happening was that my violin teacher at my Christian academy, she ended up passing away, and so
Oh.
as a result of that, like I kind of put the violin down, and I didn't really have
Mm.
the motivation to pick that up. And it wasn't
Mm.
until I was in about eighth grade that I discovered this shiny black guitar, acoustic guitar, in my dad's closet. Um,
Oh.
and I took it out, and I was like, I feel like I've known that it's been here, but I didn't really know. So why didn't you tell me? And so it was like this treasure, and it had really rusty strings. He
Oh,
had carried
wow.
it with him for a long time.
Wow.
But that was the first guitar I ever learned on, and I learned about like three chords, and that's all I knew how to play for like a year and a half or so.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
but it, but it was enough for me to like play, have fun, and write
Yeah.
stuff. And so even with just the simple knowledge of three chords, I was already writing my own songs.
Wow. So ever since you were young, you've been writing songs?
Yeah, I've been kind of working on that since about eighth grade.
Wow. Wow, that is so cool. And that's a great story too of like growing up and how your dad was singing to you before you were even born. Like that's so great. That's so great. Well, that's really cool. I wanted to ask you too, when you write your music, what is it that like gets you in the zone to write music? Like what inspires you to sit down and write music?
Like I said earlier, I really like writing about anything and everything.
Mm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I I make music about life,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that includes, religion and spirituality is definitely a big thing for me. I have uh, the deepest connection with God
Yeah.
through music because
Mm.
that's when I feel Him speaking to me. That's when I feel like I can express myself properly. Um,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
And then just thinking about everyday life and different things that we go through,
Yeah.
I really try to capitalize on the emotions and
Mm.
feelings that I'm experiencing at that present time.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I'll write about that. And I'll also write
Yeah.
about memories and different experiences that I've had in the past. So
Mm.
really it's just a matter of sitting down. And if I
Yeah.
sit down with my guitar, or even if I'm with John and Trent and we can sit
Mm-hmm.
down, if we're there long enough, we have a
Yeah.
song before we know it. So
Wow, that is really cool. That is really, really cool. I mean, and there aren't a lot of people who can really compose their own music and write their own lyrics and everything. So I just think that's really cool, that you and everyone in your band, Trent and John, right? Is it Trent and John?
yeah, Trent and John.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That you guys can sit down and do that. That's really cool. So, along the lines of like faith and religion and all of that stuff, you said you write about that in your music and everything. Do you feel like, I guess, how do I ask this? Do you feel like God has like led you to like create this band and create this music? And, like how does faith kind of play into all of this for you?
I think that faith is one of the biggest things that I encounter when it comes to playing music and
Yeah,
classifying myself as a musician
yeah.
overall, because it's a very hard field to be in, to
Mm,
try to create music for other people to listen. You're
uh-huh.
very vulnerable. You don't make a lot of money doing it, even if you're
Right.
out there kind of playing different places and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it takes so much of you
Mm,
um, in order to be in front of people and
hmm.
just be as vulnerable and as transparent as you can be. So I really
Yeah.
rely on God for a lot of the strength and energy that comes to me when I'm performing or when I'm sharing even my testimonies,
Mm,
or the guys are sharing their testimonies. We definitely link everything back to faith.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I
Wow.
think one of the reasons that we came up with our name
Mm-hmm.
um, was because we wanted to spread light. We wanted to be
Mm,
that light on the dark shore,
hmm.
for people that need that.
Mm.
And so we have
Wow.
we have this kind of like it's our mantra, I guess you would say, that we like to live by, and that's like um, whether the numbers of the audience are big or small, play with your
Mm-hmm.
heart or not at all. And so
Mm.
um,
Wow.
that's really just giving ourselves up and giving everything that we have and just
Yeah.
relying and trusting on God to fill our cups so that we
Mm.
can continue to do this.
Yeah. Wow, that is so good. I love that because, and you saying that, that just reminds me, for anyone listening, whatever it is that you might be doing, right? It's like, as long as you know that you're like giving it your all, you're giving it your best, and primarily letting God, lead and, lead the way for you, that's all you got to do, right? And so I just wanted to ask you, have you ever had someone, come up to you after a concert maybe, or someone send you a message and or maybe even to Trent or John and say, hey, like your music really spoke to me. It was just what I needed to hear. Something like that. Has anything like that ever happened for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's wow, it's such a humbling experience to
Mm,
be able to be in front of, an audience for an hour at a time and just pour
wow.
out all of these songs that we have. And then
Yeah.
at the end of that, to have people come up to us and be like, hey, I really love this song, or this song
Mm,
spoke to me, or like, hey, I really need you guys to keep playing that because that message is something that other people need to hear.
wow.
It's very humbling and
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
amazing. I can't even explain it.
Yeah.
Um, one of the more recent memories that is coming to me right now is
Uh-huh.
we played at the Broken Arrow Youth Rally not
Oh,
too long
wow.
ago.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Um, and after we did our Sabbath afternoon concert,
Mm,
we had a couple kids that were there, and they were very interested in what we were doing, and
mm,
they were looking up to, you know, the fact that there's young people like us that love God and are up there sharing music and
mm.
being vulnerable.
Wow.
One of the guys we taught him one of our songs, and he came up and played it with us.
No way.
And
Wow.
so he was extremely proud of, that
Oh,
moment. And then that was great.
that's so
And
cool.
then we also had one of the other guys. He messaged the band's Instagram page,
Uh-huh.
and he shared and expressed the fact that he struggles with depression, and
Wow.
he found our music to be great. But one of the biggest things that impacted him that day was the fact that I was able to open up and share about the depression that I've struggled with, and
Mm.
why I use music as a vehicle to share that with everybody.
Wow.
And I wasn't even planning on doing that in the concert, but
Wow.
it came to a point where I was going to do one of the songs by myself,
Mm.
acoustic, stripped down,
Uh-huh.
and I just started speaking, and I started speaking from the heart, and I just
Wow.
shared all that. And then
Wow.
for him to be able to have the courage to message us and just let us
Yeah.
know, like, hey, that message you shared with me was what I needed.
Yeah.
That was extremely humbling, and
Wow.
I'm proud that God has been able to work through us, even though we're imperfect.
Mm. That is really cool. That's a really, really amazing story because, like you said, you were just speaking from the heart. You were just sharing what you felt like you were supposed to share in that moment, and that was just what that young person needed to hear. So that's really, really amazing. It's really cool to see how God will use you if you're willing, and He'll speak through you, if you're willing to do that too. So that's really, really cool. And I'm sure you'll have many more stories to share about that in the future, because it's whenever you're, giving your all for God and you're wanting to glorify Him, there's just something amazing about it where God will, He'll use you to encourage other people. So that's really great. I wanted to ask you, for those who are listening and they're like, hey, like maybe I could start a band, or maybe I could really do more with my creative passion. Maybe someone loves to make, maybe like the draw, maybe they like art, whatever it may be. What advice, do you have for someone who maybe they're stuck in a rut, maybe they're not sure, maybe they're doubting their ability to really, go all in with that creative passion? What advice do you have for someone who might be thinking that right now?
Um, I've known John for several years now. I met John in about like 2011,
Mm,
and we've been playing together ever since. And one of the things that we like to lean on is the phrase "go see it,"
mm,
and that's really a term that we use when we find ourselves in an uncomfortable situation and something that's going to push us and help us grow.
mm,
Um, and it's seeking that discomfort, because we know that that discomfort is not going to last long, and there's going to be great things on the other side of that. Just kind of also going back to our mantra, what we believe in is do it for yourself. If you feel
mm,
like creating music or starting a band or just expressing yourself through any creative outlet is what you
mm,
need, do it for yourself first, because
mm.
it'll help you become the best version of yourself. It'll help you feel happy. It'll
Mm-hmm.
help you express yourself in ways that you've never had the opportunity to do so before.
Yeah.
So just going back to our mantra, it's like regardless of the numbers, whether you have a big crowd that you're performing in front of, or whether it's 15, 30 people in a small room, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Do it with your
Uh-huh.
heart. Do it for yourself. Do it with everything that you have, or don't do it at all. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, what matters is that you're feeling that fulfillment, and
Yeah.
you're able to connect with others in a way that you would have never imagined. And that comes through
Mm.
just being honest and real, and doing things for yourself. So
Yeah.
in social work, we talk a lot about self care, and I feel
Mm.
like that's kind of what I'm trying to get at is
Yeah.
like if you have a creative outlet, is if there's something that you want to do and you're feeling that inspiration, do
Yeah.
it because it helps you be the best you.
Yeah. That's so good. I love that. I love that. And I think that definitely resonates with a lot of us. It's interesting you mentioned the self-care skills, because I literally just took a psychology class this semester and we were talking about that at one point. And it's funny, it seems so simple and so basic to figure out, that one hobby, that one thing that is, good for you, that it's healthy for you. Maybe it's exercising, creating music, whatever it is. But you're so right that, if you find that one thing and start by doing that for yourself and making yourself happy and letting God lead you in that too, even. So, it's so beneficial to you, and it will help you grow as an individual. So thank you for sharing that. That was really good. Two more questions. One of those is, where can we find your music, and are you guys on social media? I know you're on Spotify, but where can we find your music?
Yeah, like you mentioned, we're on Spotify, so you can look up Lightshore on Spotify and find our EP on there. You can also find us on Apple Music, Google Play, really any distributor that you can think of that you like to listen to your music through. We're most likely on there. So that's a way you can find our music. YouTube also, if you look up on YouTube, we have some live stuff on there. We really should update it because we have some intentions of putting out new stuff.
Cool.
But you can also find us on Instagram, just at Lightshore. And on Mondays we have a segment where we titled it Must Ask Mondays. So you can get on there, ask us questions. We do a fan service Friday where we make a video and just kind of answer questions for everybody so that we can all get to know each other and connect.
Wow.
And then you can also follow our personal pages as well, and we're more than happy to answer questions and message and just connect as well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Okay, you guys, you heard it here. Go follow all of the Instagram accounts. Look out for their upcoming YouTube videos, it sounds like, maybe. Awesome. That's great. But more importantly, go download all of their music. Last question I have for you, Tito. Do you have, a word of encouragement? Maybe there's something on your heart that you want to share with the listeners. Do you have any, last thoughts for the show today?
Yeah. Find something that helps you grow physically. Find something that helps you grow emotionally, and find something that helps you grow spiritually. And with finding something that fits that void for each one of those categories, I really believe that each and every one of us, intentionally working at those three aspects of our life, we can become the best version of ourselves. Currently, I'm working on that too. Now that I'm done with school, I'm going to have some more time to work on that, and I'm very excited about the opportunities that are coming here in the future. But really just go see it. Like, find that discomfort, find the things that are going to help you grow, because our world is changing, and we need more light. The Bible tells us that we are the light, and we need to share that with people. We can't hide our light. We can't dim it. We need to share that with everyone, because there's hope and there's love and there's people out there that need to hear that. So find discomfort, find the things that help you grow, and then share that light with others.
So good. All right, guys, you heard it here first. This is Tito. Thank you, Tito, for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much, Rachel. It was honestly, I was looking forward to doing this for a really long time.
Yay! That's
it's my
so great.
pleasure. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm very excited that it worked out for you to come on the show. All right, everyone. This has been a great episode. And make sure you go check out all of the music by Lightshore. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey you guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed having this conversation with Tito. I hope you decide to stick around for my next episode. I'm going to be releasing another one this month in December, and I'm very excited for the new year, 2020, a new decade. Like, wow, very excited for what's to come for this podcast and for you guys to listen to more episodes that will hopefully encourage and inspire you. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to me on iTunes or follow me on Spotify, and you already know all the other social media platforms. All right, guys, have a great day. I'm your host, Rachel. Bye.